Indeed, they do on 103.5 WNHH. This is Babz Rawls. I mean, if it's around 9 o'clock, you know it's time for Lovebabz, Lovetalk. Welcome. So today I have my favorite person, one of my favorite people in New Haven, Jenny Nelson from Collective Consciousness, and Griffin, who is in the new play Passover. So this thing is getting good reviews.
We are so fortunate that the people have spoken. And they like what we're doing.
Oh, I like what you're doing. So tell me about this play. What is the premise?
This is, you know, at CCT, we like to do new plays. So this play is just a couple of years old by our amazing playwright.
And you guys do a damn good job of bringing the most interesting playwright work.
Thank you.
Here. Seriously.
You know what? We appreciate that. Dexter and I read a lot of plays and see a lot of plays because we want to be in the moment. You know, we want to amplify new playwrights. I think that's really, we think, especially playwrights of color and women.
Okay.
So she is a wonderful female playwright. And this play is just a couple years old. And basically it's a bit of a spin on Waiting for Godot.
Yes.
Right. And so that's a lot of what the publicity has said, this idea of Waiting for Godot, these two men that just for whatever reason, circumstance, can't leave their space. But she's taken it and she's put our two leads, two men of color, Kitch and Moses, and the idea that they can't get off the block because of the circumstances of the world, because of systemic racism and bigotry, and they can't get off the block and succeed. And she's really taken this idea of Waiting for Godot and really given it this spin and made it this really beautiful social justice play.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Griffin, what's your role in this?
So I play two characters in this play. The first one's name is Mr. Second one is Ossifer. Yep. Yeah. And very, very different characters, but they both are stereotypes.
So it is deliberate stereotypes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I saw some of the people's comments in places, and they were like, "Oh, why do the white people have to be?"
Yeah,
and I was like,
and we were ready for that. We are ready to have that dialogue.
The point.
But if anything, our playwright, I think, so deftly has created this play in that a lot of times people of color are given those stereotypes, right? And I think she's taking it and she's spinning it, but she's not done it in a not thoughtful way. I think she's given Mr. and Ossifer roots and reality based in these real characteristics. But that she does play on some of these stereotypes to highlight to them, to kind of show the inequality of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
She's an amazing.
Because people were feeling some kind of way about that.
And we're okay with that.
Okay, good.
We want them to feel some kind of way.
But
we want those people to
yes, we do.
What I tell you what I found interesting, because I haven't seen the play and I'm coming definitely to see this play. I don't care how I get there.
We welcome you.
What I find interesting is that people can find stereotypes when they are reversed, when they are heavily reversed, but they can't see them.
We don't want to see them, right?
When it's just obviously, how the world works oftentimes.
Absolutely.
When you hold the mirror up, not everyone's going to like what they see.
Yeah.
Well said.
So how was that? How were you in this, Griffin? Because you're a young man and, you didn't grow up in the civil rights movement. You don't have any real reason to sort of, other than humanity. But this is, to step into these stereotypes, how did you feel?
Well,
what did it do to you?
Like everything Collective Consciousness does, and I've been very fortunate that Jenny and Dexter have welcomed me back to their space. This is the fourth thing I've done with them. But
okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're like a veteran now.
He's our guy.
A little bit now,
He's our
yeah.
guy.
And I'm really, really thankful that they brought me in. Again, I went to college for theater, and I did a lot of shows. But when I graduated, I was searching for something that I could really, use my skills for, but in a really meaningful way. And Jenny and Dexter reached out to me, and it was just like fate. Like they were doing work that meant something, that was timely, that was relevant. And I jumped to be a part of it, and it's just great. I really don't know how else to describe it. They've allowed me into their family, and I couldn't be happier to do the work and be a part of the mission that they're all about.
Yeah, and Dexter and I always say people come to us. We are just so fortunate that people that are mission driven just show up for us. And Griffin was definitely one of the people that just showed up for us, and he's always been mission driven in all the shows that we've done.
Okay. So what was it about this play? So when you read this play, did you know immediately, like, oh, you know what, Dexter, this is the one, this is the one? Or did you have to, like, you know, turn it over a couple of times?
I read, like I said, you know, some people ask us, like, is there just the magic secret to picking these plays? But really, it just goes back to sitting and reading. You know, literacy is so vitally important. And just reading these plays and reading these new plays. But definitely when I read this play, I just thought it was so unique because there have been a lot of plays that are rightly so dealing with police brutality because it is something that's happening in this world that we need to observe.
Yes.
But this play, the purview, the way that she structured it, and that it's slightly abstracted. I tend to lean towards more abstracted work because and absurdist work because the world feels a little absurd right now.
Sometimes that's the best way to tell the story.
It is. Yeah. And the idea that if this is our world, then this is absurd.
Okay.
Right. And so that was the viewpoint of the play that I just thought was so interesting. And then it's just so poetic. She's done such a beautiful job with the poetry. The playwright, I think she said she had 90 drafts.
Whoa.
Of this play.
Is she still drafting, or is this the final?
This is it.
Okay.
This is it. When it premiered at Steppenwolf, it was still going through some changes, but this is it. But just showing the care that she put into the play. Yeah, this was definitely Dexter and I knew this was a special play.
Wow. Wow. So now, does this playwright have a series of plays? It's like, is this what they do like?
She is very new. She is actually had been writing this for quite a few years, but she is a teacher, a college professor in New York, and this is one of her first plays. So
wow.
She has others, but this is definitely the one that's getting the most publicity and the most controversy. You know, there's been definitely some conversations and dialogue surrounding this play, but I think that's what I think that's what she wants based on interviews. She wants people to talk about this issue.
So when you're casting this, what goes through your mind? Like when you read a play, or this particular play, let's talk about this play. So when you read this play, what are you thinking about what you need in terms of who's going to do what and play what and convey what?
Well, we're so lucky. You know, Griffin mentioned this is his fourth show with us. Is that right? That's wonderful. We are so lucky that now we are kind of almost in a company kind of situation where we have actors that we've worked with quite a few times.
Like your go-to people.
Exactly. Of course, we are always have our wide open doors at auditions, and we love to work with people that we've never worked with. Stephen Grits King, who's playing Kitch, who's definitely a man about town. Everyone knows, yes, he is amazing, and he's brand new to CCT.
Oh, okay.
Which is exciting. So we always have an open door policy, but we do have people that we just love to work with, and definitely when I read this play, Tanisi Davis, who's been in, I think this is his fifth show with us. I immediately just called him and just said, you know, I have to send this play to you. Would you do this play with me? Yeah, because it really is special, and you need the right actors. And so securing him and then having these auditions and then knowing that Griffin was available and then finding this new actor, Steven, I think things just line up the way that when you're doing the work you're supposed to be doing, the people to
Girl, you better say it.
Yeah,
that's true. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So now talk about this set. Now, a couple of things, because I've been seeing the promos.
Yeah,
and I don't know if y'all upped your game doing that because I feel like you upped
Shout
the
out
game.
To Travis out here.
Because I was like, where's this?
Is this in that room?
Is this in Broadway? Like, what is happening here?
But so
I've seen the promos and they look so damn good. I was like, they are changing the game with this, and people are very excited and enticed by it.
Yes, which is what we want. You know, we want. I mean, firstly, you know, Travis Carbonella.
Oh, I love Travis.
I mean, who doesn't love Travis? And he is truly a genius videographer. He always does our promo videos. And I always say, you make us you make us look so professional. We are this professional company, but you take us to
But he
this
takes us to
level.
the next level, right?
He does, and he just does such beautiful work. That promo video, every promo video he does. For us.
Yes.
But we just have magical people working on our set. Jamie Burnett,
who was an old friend of mine,
of course, and David Sepulveda,
who's got the best hair in the city.
Best hair in the city, yes. And now we have Ami Ziner, who's doing some of our scenic painting.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's amazing.
Oh
so
my gosh, she's amazing.
I mean, we couldn't be more lucky to work in this collaboration. And theater, I think, is it's just an art form that is collaboration, and it can't do it alone. So we are so lucky to have so many talented people working with us.
So what do you want the audience to take away from this? Like, what do you want? Because you said you like the abstract and the absurd, but you don't want people to walk away feeling like,
what just happened?
you want them to discern what, to walk away with what?
Well, I mean, Dexter and I kind of are. One of our taglines for CCT is we ask the questions, but we don't answer them. And so I'm always interested when people see this work, that it sparks dialogue and conversation and maybe creates a road to empathy for people that maybe it's not your life experience, but it's the human experience, right? And so that we have to acknowledge and validate and listen.
Okay.
And I really hope that people walk out maybe just thinking a little about something they hadn't thought about, or on the flip side, they feel validated. There was a man that came that watched the show a couple days ago, and he was so moved by the piece, and he said, I feel like I say this all day long and no one listens to me.
Whoa.
And I thought, well, that's what we're doing here. We are hopefully opening hearts and minds, but we are hopefully also validating people. That I hear you. Because
this is a very heavy topic.
This is a very heavy topic.
Because it's happening right now. This is not 1950.
And right here.
This is like right now.
Right
and
here.
Very close to the bone. And this play takes place here?
It's
kind of loosely?
You that one,
well, we've loosely set it here in New Haven for sure. Again, it's because the material in the play, it really is so timely, and that's the great thing about it. I think she's provided this canvas and this backdrop that you can
drop it anywhere. Okay. Is that unusual in a play? Usually a play comes with a place.
It does. I would say in your kind of modern play now, I would say in the last 10 years, plays have really shifted to become, it'll just say like an urban city.
Okay.
So the idea, right, that it can be here and it's everywhere.
Okay.
And that kind of pulls us in, like the humanity you were talking about, right? That and so we have made it New Haven centric when you see our skyline, which beautifully done by David, Jamie, and Ami. But also that it is everywhere. When they did the production in Chicago, they made it very specific to Chicago and the issues that they're dealing with there. So I think she's made it kind of a canvas, as Griffin said, so that we can see ourselves, but also we can see how we're all connected in this.
Okay.
It's affecting all of us.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing this play, Passover. So what does that mean? What does the title mean? Oh, can you say that? Like, am I giving too? Is that giving too much over?
No, I don't think it's giving too much over. This play, again with the abstraction, she's using Passover in several different ways.
Because I get Passover. When I hear Passover, I immediately go to my Jewish brothers and sisters.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
And I think that's absolutely, that is in there. And we're talking about the Exodus.
Yes.
Yes.
See, that's what I'm thinking.
And the Promised Land.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
That is in this play.
Ooh, I get an A for it.
Yes, you do. Well done. Bible school. Yes. Yes.
Girl, you know.
Old Testament.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. She has, we have Moses is our main character. So,
oh my gosh, I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yes. So it's a little bit of that. And it's a little bit of this urban city. And also there's some allusions to plantation. She's really put a lot into this play, but she's written it so deftly that it doesn't feel mired in a lot of devices.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels fluid and conversational.
Wow.
But it's all in there. It's all in there.
So do you feel like this kind of play will hold up 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Or
What do you
is it a
think?
snapshot of, because I would imagine it might feel like a
great question.
snapshot of present times.
Right.
But would
But
10
times are
years
gonna
from
change,
now,
yeah.
the times have changed. Would people still like understand what was happening? You know, like,
Mhm.
could you lift this and then put it 10 years from now and,
Really
and people
great
be like,
question.
what?
Yeah,
Do you think about that?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the hope is that we will evolve and move on, hopefully in 10
Mhm.
years. But you know, the way the world works, it's a very timely play.
I tell you why I
And
bring it up, because I was
Yeah.
at Long Wharf Theater and I saw Belonging.
I'm seeing it on
Yes.
Wednesday. I cannot wait. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
How
and
exciting is this
it,
work?
it is a piece of work. It is
Beautiful.
a story that is outside of my own reality,
Mhm.
right? Like, it's just
Which is what
racism is
theater
not
can do.
outside my reality.
Yeah.
But the concept of homosexuals in 1950
Mhm.
and places to go and be themselves, it's
Mhm.
not in my consciousness, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm not thinking that. So this play forces me to think about, where do people who are considered other go for safety and enjoyment and camaraderie and all? So that's why I asked that question. Like,
Yeah.
10 years from now, 20 years from now, 40 years from now, when we start talking about poverty and police brutality, we can use this play as a lens to sort of look back and say, oh my God, this is what people were dealing with,
Yeah. And I think you're hitting on something really important. And it's actually one of the reasons that we do theater is it's a mark of time.
Yes.
Right. So theater in its greatest form, I mean, clearly it's for entertainment, it's escapism, it's all those wonderful things. But theater should be a reflection of what is happening in the world.
Mhm.
That's what Shakespeare
That's
said,
how we
right?
start those conversations. And
Exactly. Yeah. And so the hope is that, like Griffin said, we look back on this and we can still understand. Hopefully we've moved forward out of these spaces and we're not having to see so much violence and police brutality in the world. But that it is a mark of this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important
I
for
think
us
it
to
is,
reflect.
because August Wilson has this whole century of body of work, right?
Yes, every decade.
Which
is so important.
It is.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how important it was until you just sort of said it's a mark of time.
It is. That's what
And,
theater can do.
That's pretty big.
It is. It's
You know.
it's really it's doing it through the lens of empathy,
Mhm.
right? And really trying to understand these characters. The Diary of Anne Frank is such an important work because it was about one little girl in
Yeah.
the Holocaust.
Yes.
And it created such empathy and sympathy for this one little girl,
Mhm.
right? Because it's a human story. And I think that's what theater does. They are human stories of this moment.
And so Jenny, so do you think these kinds of stories can change hearts and minds?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And so do you think that when people see this, when they walk out of that theater at any given time, that they see something or they experience something that makes them think about whatever this is happening now a different way?
I do. I think just sometimes I think it's exposure.
Mhm.
And like you were saying, seeing on grounds of belonging, seeing this experience that's not necessarily your life experience, but now you're seeing another person's experience and it's giving you understanding for that experience and creating this empathy for it.
Mm-hmm.
And and truly Dexter and I have seen people have a moment of clarity in our theater, have an epiphany, a moment of empathy that was new to them. We've really witnessed that in our theater, or a dialogue in our talkbacks where people really feel like it's a safe enough space to talk about the things that they're struggling with and struggling to understand. And it's so amazing to bear witness to those examples.
I think what I find
Yeah.
interesting and what I'm looking forward to is that, you don't often see Black men with the complexity and layers, not just theater, but in television and,
Absolutely.
they're always one dimensional. They're either magical Negro
Right.
or thug.
Yes.
Like, there's no layered nuances, except there's a few shows that are starting to sort of get like,
the tide is turning a little
yes,
bit.
a little bit. Like,
A
This Is
little
Us, You know, I've seen, you know, a little bit of that,
Yeah.
you know, and some other kinds of things, but wholly though, vastly, you don't see complex Black men in exchange with each other.
Right.
You know, and so I think people are probably fascinated by that Black men can be complex and layered.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And our playwright actually speaks to this. I saw an interview with her and she said one of the ideas of the play for her was exactly what you're talking about is what if these two men of color are not special, right? What if they're just two men?
Yeah.
How do we treat Black men if they're not secret mathematicians or athletes or rock stars, right? If they're not special, how do we treat Black men in the scheme of things? And she really wanted to talk about that. So exactly what you're talking about is something that she really wanted to approach in the play.
Wow.
And they really are these fully formed, complex human beings, as all people are.
So Griffin, what's your acting background? What is your backstory?
Oh boy, I've been doing theater for a while. Very fortunate. My parents are in it a little bit as well, so I kind of caught the bug from them. But it wasn't forced or pressured into it in any way.
Did they freak out and be like, "Okay, listen"?
A little bit. Well, it's funny, when I was looking at schools, I wanted to originally. I was telling Jenny the story the other day. I was looking at schools for computer science, and I was a swimmer as well, so I was looking.
And they
at
were
all
like,
of that.
"Yes, do that."
And they're like, "Yeah, great, cool,
Anything
You're
but
gonna be
acting.
secure." Yeah. And then I'm like, "Hey, actually, spin." But so it's been a part of my life all my life.
Where do you hail from?
Well, I was born in New York. We moved to Connecticut when I was starting first grade because my father's work. And then I've been here ever since, and I'm just moved here, living in New Haven now since the beginning of August. So I'm very happy to finally officially be a New Havener.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yes. And both of Griffin's parents have been in our shows.
Really?
Yes. His mom, Susan, was in Rashida Speaking.
Oh, I love that play.
Yes, she was Eileen. And yes, right? Amazing.
Oh, you get it honestly, baby.
Yes, she does, right? And then his dad, George Kulp, was in our Fresh Work series, and he did, when we had some new plays, he did a staged reading with us and has done other things. So I always call them the Von Trapps. They're they're just this amazing theater family and truly supporters of the work.
Oh no, you couldn't do anything else.
I know,
it's in
right?
your DNA.
Honestly,
I know.
I'm glad I'm on the path that I'm on.
So how do you choose the work that you do? How do you choose? How do you balance out what comes your way? How do you decide? Like, do you take a moral view on things? Do you say, I got to pay the bills? Do you say, do you know what I mean? Like there's all, do you take films where you get to beat up women? I mean, where do you draw the line? Because some people have a line that they will draw and say, I will not do X, Y, and Z.
Right. No, that's a very real thing. I have always been under the impression where again, coming back to why I love Jenny and working with this company, I jump and want to do the things that scare me or push me because it pushes you out of your comfort zone. It familiarizes yourself with things that you might not know about and might not be aware of. And I search for plays and for musicals and stuff like that.
Do you sing?
I would.
Yes,
I wouldn't call myself a singer.
He's got a great voice, so
I could carry a tune, I think, but I look for it all. But again, in college and growing up, and in the shows that I did, I wasn't doing any like social justice work through theater or anything like that. So this is, within the past couple of years, is still very, very new to me. But it also just feels right, and I have no bias when it comes to what show I'm working on, but definitely if I see something or if I'm presented with something that does have, a moral obligation or what have you, I do prioritize.
So talk to me a little bit before we talk more about the play, because I'm interested in actors and actors' lives. And it seems to me, Griffin, that there's so many opportunities for actors to do their thing. Like you could do your own web series. You could do your own movie. You could shoot a whole movie with an iPhone 10.
Yes, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And edit that joker all on your iPhone.
Everyone's got the power in their own pockets now.
It is amazing.
Everybody can create their own fan base. You can do all these things. So does that help you further your career, or do you find it harder to sort of stay on top of all these technologies that are designed to help you further your career?
Sure. No, I think that's a really great question. Look, in the time and age that we're living in, look, I'm 26, so I grew up kind of in that technological boom where everyone was starting to get cell phones and all of that. So I really think it's been a blessing in a lot of ways, because you see a lot of people now are starting their own YouTube channels or anything, and that's how they're getting noticed.
Kids.
Yeah, kids. It really, and it's incredible if you use the tools in the right way. It's all about how you use the tools that you're given, right? And it's funny that you mentioned that. I have a lot of creative friends, and we have talked about wanting to start our own web series and write and create our own stuff like that, because
that's how Issa Rae got picked up by what is it, HBO, whatever she's on.
It's amazing.
She was just doing her thing on a whole web series thing.
Yeah.
So
and that's really how a lot of people are getting noticed now too, is creating their own stuff and engaging with the community in that way. So that's definitely something that myself and my friends have thought about doing for sure. And to anyone out there that's listening that is thinking about that or has a bug for it, I say go for it, because that's, when you're working for yourself and you're creating that stuff and stuff that's meaningful and important to you, that's the goal, I think.
Okay.
To start somewhere.
CCT
started because Dexter, we're 10 years old now, almost 11. Dexter and his partner Liz Hines at the time, there was no space for social justice theater. There was no place where this was happening. And so Dexter and his partner just started it.
There was social justice theater in the 60s into the 70s.
Absolutely there was.
Like there was Black Theater Alliance and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of, then Black actors started getting roles in traditional white spaces, and things kind of
it shifted.
But now I think we're hopefully coming back. We're seeing a resurgence.
I feel like we are, and I really feel like you can see that in New Haven this season between Yale Rep and Long Wharf.
Well, that's because they're taking your lead. I think
that's very
because they want some of that.
I'll take that.
They want no. I said I said this last year.
I know you did. You're so kind.
Yale Rep and Long Wharf were starting to make a turn. And now they got some new leadership over there at the Long Wharf.
Well, Jacob Padron.
Can
we just say,
human.
He's just blowing the doors off stuff.
Yes,
people holding on like, ooh, this is a ride.
But you know what? That's what needs to happen.
Yes.
That's what needs to happen right now.
Yeah.
And he is just the person to do it.
Yeah, how many times can we see Death of a Salesman? Which I love. Don't get me wrong.
We all love Death of a Salesman.
We know the classics listen,
they're important.
My kid is a Shakespearean trained actor, right?
There you go.
I'll go see her in Macbeth and 50 million times.
Shakespeare's important.
It's important.
It's all important. And we have a great Shakespeare scene right here in New Haven. So,
but
absolutely.
At the same time, I love that you all are bringing us these up and coming and established playwrights who have a very clear message of social justice. Look at this. Look at how we are in the world, people. I love that.
Yeah, which is exactly what Death of a Salesman was doing in its time.
Yes.
Right? And The Crucible was doing in its time.
Yes.
Right? That is what theater can do. And those are just now feel like we've had that conversation, and now this is our new conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what feels so present about it. And I know at Long Wharf they are really Jacob is also so much and has been doing that for many years on his own and other projects to really bring those new playwrights, living playwrights, and playwrights of color and women to the forefront to tell stories.
So talk to me a little bit about the business of creating a play, because we get every time you come, we have a little conversation about the business end of it.
Yeah,
absolutely. because Connecticut has a whole arts commission and there's art money and all this other kind of stuff. But, do you have to raise a whole lot of money to sort of do this work? How do you do that? Because I know it can't just be ticket sales. It's got to
It
be.
is not ticket sales. As much as we want people to come and buy those tickets, every penny helps us at CCT. I think because our model is unique, that we actually pay everyone that works with us. No one is volunteering their time.
Mm-hmm.
That's something.
Wow.
Yes, Dexter and I are adamant about that being part of our mission. Not that intrinsic reward isn't important, and if people are willing to volunteer their time, that's a beautiful thing. But we really feel that every artist should be validated with some sort of extrinsic reward. So I would say almost 90% of all of the monies that we make go to the actors and the artists that are working with us. And that does we do a lot of fundraising, and we have been very fortunate over these past 10 years to receive grants and funding from New Haven, from Connecticut, and from other sources. We also have private donors but we're always looking for
who believe
more.
in your work and want to help
They
further.
They do, and every bit helps. I look at Elizabeth Warren's campaign. She's like, give $5, and I think, yeah, because $5 adds up. If everyone gives a little, you would be shocked for how reasonably we do these productions, because everyone is so mission driven. We are able to do them at a really in a really cost effective way. But every bit helps. And so we are always trying to find and pull from new resources to really get the message of social justice. And then we also do education workshops, things out in the community. And that definitely brings in some monies. But it's definitely a constant search for funding, because the arts, much like education, are always underfunded.
So does that affect what you choose?
Yes.
Okay, because
it has to.
I was wondering, because you might like, I really like this, but ain't nobody
I would love
gonna
to do Caroline or Change. Yes, that's always on our list, but we can't do that right now.
You can't do it because it's expensive to do.
It's expensive. Our space is intimate, but not quite the right space just yet. You'll notice when you come to our shows, we really, Dexter and I really tailor them to our space and what we can do well in our space. And we're lucky to have designers that make that happen. But it does keep our cast size a little bit smaller. And we do want to do, plays that serve the space. And so something like Caroline or Change is a beautiful musical that we would love to do. That's so mission driven for us. But it's a little bigger than we can do right now, but that doesn't mean it's not in the future for us. Big things are in the future for us. Okay. So we're excited.
So are y'all looking for new space?
We're always looking for a new space. We love our home at Erector Square.
Listen,
I love it. It's a beautiful space.
I know you love the
space. We do, really.
But everybody's got to move,
We're
right?
getting too big, right? And that's the beautiful thing, that these patrons, last night when we sold out our preview,
people were mad.
Incredible.
We were turning people away.
The fire marshal will come in here and nobody will see the play.
Yes, exactly. Luckily, we keep it right under that. So we're adhering to all those great laws. But it is one of those things where we want to move out into a bigger space so we can just have more people. It's really that we just want to get more people in there. And right now we are kind of at the capacity of what we can do, but still bringing great work in the capacity of which we have. So yeah, we're always looking for something.
Do you run workshops or playwriting classes? I'm interested in taking a playwright class. I'm asking that. This is really me and you now.
Okay. Well, you have the perfect person to talk to.
Very kind. We are always, working on programming, and we have in the past. Actually, last year we did a playwriting workshop for adults, and that was really, really great. Dexter, of course, is a playwright himself.
I have a play in mind, and I want to flesh it out with somebody.
Yes,
but I want to do it with people who know something about playwriting. I don't want to do it with my barber.
Yeah. Although your barber can be a great person to bounce ideas off.
I think so, but
Dexter and I are always available to have conversations about new plays, because that is really what you're talking about. Can be the seed of a play that becomes something that we do. We did Freshworks 2 years ago, and we got 150 play submissions.
Whoa! From where?
All over the country.
Really?
Yes, and we picked 3, and we did stage readings of them, and that was so exciting to see. We had to read 150 plays.
How do you do that?
I had volunteers.
How do you do that? Okay.
I had volunteers.
People that you trust?
Yes, people that I trust, and we created a survey, and they got 5 plays each. And then they reported back to me, and then I went through all of the reports.
So how do you do that? Like, what's your method for doing that?
Well, there is definitely,
because you can't. I mean, listen, you're not asking me to read plays. It'd take me 2 years.
Good to know. But you know, we definitely have a group of people. I think first of all, it's liking reading plays. Some people, it's a real enjoyment factor for them.
Okay.
As much as it's part of my job, I do really just like to read a play. Because it's always exciting when you open that first page, you don't know, right? Like a great book.
So when you start reading a play, do you hear the characters? Do you hear it?
If it's a well done play, you can really hear it and start to see it, and you do know within the first 30 or 40 pages if this is a play
that you want to
continue to read to the end, and you really do.
So Griffin, does that work for you too? Like, when you get a play, like when she sent you this play and said, "Hey, I want you to read for these 2 things." Do you read them and go, "All right, when do you know that this is for you?" Now, aside from the fact that you like her and you trust her judgment, but what has to happen for you as an actor to make you say, "All right, yeah, yes,
sure,
hell yes."
Yeah, you know what? And again, I'll bring it back to Jenny and Dex. Yeah, when she sent me the script for it, I read it immediately, and again, within the first like 20 pages or so, I knew that it was a story that I wanted to be a part of. But whenever I read plays or something, I look for that truth a little bit in there, and if it's funny what can hit you and what can resonate with you, and that's it's different on a case by case basis. But I don't know, it's not like there's no defined or real answer. I think it's just
you just kind of know when you see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just feel when it's a piece of art, you should be like we were talking about. The things should, like the actors come. I think pieces come to you when it's the right time for you, right? And when you're able to do it.
Yeah, and in this particular instance for this play, not to give anything away, but it was really one of the lines that one of my characters has in it. That as soon as I read it, I was like,
I'm in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know which one it is.
So Jenny, so when you send him a play, are you sending 3 other people the same script because just in case he says no? Like what happens if he's like, you know what, I
don't want to do this. Yeah, I think we do all kinds of different things. We do ask actors that we've worked with before.
You start there.
Absolutely. We do hold auditions. We actually did hold auditions for Griffin's role. So we had several people come in. Several really wonderful actors come in and read for Mr. and Ossifer. So we kind of do a combination of both things. Also to make sure that we're keeping it open to people. It's good to precast some of the roles, but then it's also really great to open our doors because that brought us Steven.
Yeah.
And how long does a production take from beginning to end? Like you get this play, you buy it, right? Do you buy it or you
get
lease
it,
or
you get the
whatever?
Rights.
You get the rights.
Which is always a tricky, thing to get the royalties to make sure you can actually do the play.
Okay.
Yeah, and then basically once you cast it, it's a 6-week rehearsal process, and then we're up for 3 weekends. So that's 9 weeks in itself. But before that, I mean, I started reading plays last January.
Whoa!
And
because you need to be you got to be ahead.
I have to start reading plays now for next season as soon as this closes.
Oh. So now, this production, Passover.
Yes.
So is this the last one for the season?
No, this is the beginning of our season.
This is the beginning of the season.
It's so exciting.
Okay.
So we do have another play coming up.
Can you say what it is?
Absolutely. We're doing Skeleton Crew by Dominique Morisseau.
Oh,
yes, which has gotten some love around town.
Well, you brought her to us.
We did bring her.
Now everybody in Connecticut is. I've seen her work in other places.
I've seen at least 3 other productions.
Haven't you?
Yeah,
she is. Well, and she was. And we will also take that we were one of the first in New England
you
to
have
do
to take
Detroit
it because
67.
I've been running around Connecticut saying, well, they did it in New Haven.
We really did. And she came. Dominique is a friend to us. She came to the production. She is a wonderful person.
Her name is being floated around.
She is like she won the MacArthur Genius Grant.
Yeah, what? Yes.
Okay.
I saw that.
Which she well deserves.
Yes.
But now she's got a musical on Broadway, right? The Temptations. She is just exploding
which is my favorite group. Honestly.
That's perfect, and she is just a wonderful playwright. Westport Country Playhouse did Skeleton Crew recently.
Yes, they did.
They did, and then Hartford did Detroit last season. So it's great to see her work. We had always wanted to do Skeleton Crew once we did Detroit 67. It was just a scheduling, but now we're so excited to be able to bring it in the spring. and Dexter will be directing that.
Wow.
And we are thrilled.
And then what's after that one?
At that point, we'll probably do some more kind of individual programming, some stage readings. We like to keep programming in the space, but those are our two main productions this season.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really...
I need a love story.
You need, okay.
But
I'll start reading plays.
But I don't want struggle love though. I don't want struggle.
Easy love.
I want a nice, beautifully.
That is hard to do in a social justice play, but I will do it for you.
That is the social justice.
You know
we
what?
need to see Black men and women in love
Make
without
it easy.
a whole lot
of
struggle. You know, like I want to see like a Harlequin romance story.
Maybe that's the play we write together.
Where
okay,
where there's no. I don't want to see another sister harmed, and I don't want to see another brother step into that harming role.
I agree with that. Yes, these are stereotypes.
You know what? We get together. All right, we get together.
Okay, it's gonna happen.
We get together.
Yes.
I'm not kidding.
I know you're not kidding.
This is a podcast now, girl. So this is gonna.
I'd listen.
I would totally. I know. Yes, you know what? You are so. All kidding aside, you are so right in that it is so important to bring these stories with people of color, where it's just a story.
Yeah.
It's just an easy story that we can all understand, and the humanity of it. I saw Fairview by Jackie Siblins Drury this past season, and it was one of the most amazing plays I've ever seen. And she basically took the idea of a family of color, and then basically a bunch of white people come in and try and appropriate all of those characters. And it was an amazing play. But they were just a family. Right? They were just a family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
I want to see something. I want us to be elevated in the same way that other people are elevated. Tell a beautiful story without all the harming of things. And you know, that's Native Son, which I absolutely hate, is necessary.
I know.
A
Yale
Raisin
did such
in
a good production, though. I have to say,
I must say,
beautiful production.
It was a production I've not seen, the
spectacle was spectacular.
I thought that was well done.
Yeah.
Raisin in the Sun is coming. That was my first play I directed in college.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, and I'm so excited
I know
to see
it word for word. But I love that story. But yet again, it's a struggle story.
That's true. That's a really good point.
I want to see something that's not harming. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of people who are writing beautiful books that are not, harming. Or there's got to be plays out there where, there's just it's an old fashioned love story that doesn't boy meets girl, challenges, they fall out, they fall back in love.
Boom.
But it's not
like a rom-com.
Like the police are not coming in, or you know what? There's no.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's no abuse. There's no.
All right, so we're gonna meet for coffee after this, and we're gonna
cocktails.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cocktails.
So Passover, the Collective Consciousness Theater presents Passover by Antoinette Nwandu.
Correct.
Nwandu, directed by Jenny Nelson.
Me.
And listen, October 24th, 25th, 26th, and the 31st at 8 o'clock. November 1st, 2nd, 7th, and 8th, and 9 at 8 o'clock. November 10th at 3 o'clock.
So the next 3 weekends.
Y'all get your tickets. How much are tickets?
So at CCT, we want theater to be affordable and for everyone to come. So Thursdays are always pay what you can. So you can come for free, or you can give us $1 million, or you can do anything.
I like that.
Someone wants to give me $1 million. That would be great.
I love that.
But you can also come for free or anywhere in between, because we don't want people to not come to theater because it's too expensive. And they don't feel
Lou Mangini put your link up. That's Lou Mangini.
Did really?
He's a good friend.
He's wonderful.
He's a good friend.
He's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
But tickets are $25 every other night for adults and $10 for students. We also do group rates. And you can get in contact with us if you have groups of 10 or more. But we really do just want it to be affordable for people to come to see.
And that's important.
It really is.
Because, tickets can be, I hardly ever go to New York things.
It's so expensive.
Because they start at a price point that won't allow me to have dinner.
Right. By the time you just get there, you've already spent $150.
Yes. Yes.
So, and we've really gone back in time to when theater was such an elitist activity, and only the rich could go. And we really, I think, need to reverse that paradigm. I know Long Wharf is doing a lot of things to try and help with that now. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I know Hartford does a lot of things. Like a lot of the big theaters, I do feel like they're responding now.
Yeah.
Also to draw in that younger crowd as well.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So young people
who
theater,
want to come and experience these
exactly.
things, but it's
They can't.
Well, I know
afford it.
I know the Metropolitan at the Lincoln Center, they did that
Mhm.
because they wanted young people to come, and then
Yes.
they did a whole bunch of date night, first date night
Mhm.
kinds of stuff, and young people.
That's what we should be doing.
Yeah,
we should
so
make it accessible.
We should make it accessible.
Yeah, when Rent came out, that was in the contract that Jonathan Larson came, that the first 2 rows would always be $25 tickets
Whoa.
and a lottery,
Whoa.
because he wanted young people
To see
that
this.
play, because
Yes.
it's a young people play,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's important. Otherwise, theater won't be around.
It won't. But I think it will be.
I think so too.
Listen, we're still doing Shakespeare.
You know
And-
what?
and-
That is true.
It's true.
and Greek tragedies.
We can't get
and
away.
reimagining those and reimagining the bard and all
Yes.
these things.
You're right.
Oh no, we've got another
We're
2,000
good.
years of
You are so right. Yeah, we'll work that into our play too. The rom-com.
listen,
I'm not. I know
Girl,
you're not kidding.
I'm not playing with
Okay.
you. I'm gonna be right there. We're gonna do it.
It's gonna be
So,
at my door.
Griffin, it was a pleasure to meet you.
It
I
was a
cannot
pleasure
wait to
meeting you.
see you.
Thank you,
Mhm.
thank you.
He
Jenny
gives
Nelson,
amazing
I
performance.
adore you.
You
And
as
Dexter.
well.
And I'm a
Yes.
fan of this theater.
Thank you.
And whatever I can do to help pitch it, I'm gonna do. So
Well, we always appreciate your support
I love
and
it.
the support here and the support from New Haven. We are your New Haven social justice theater.
yes, I love it. So thank you so much. I'll be in the theater with them. So y'all go get your tickets. Creative Consciousness Theater presents Passover, a play by Antoinette Nawadu, directed by our own Jenny Nelson. Thank y'all.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Thank you, Harry. I'm on my way out.
Love.